Hey everyone, welcome back. So previously, we talked about the research proposal walkthrough. In this video, we're going to be talking about the research outline. So this is for the beginning student out there who's just getting into academic research, or if you're writing your first research paper at a pre-collegiate level, I think this will be a great resource for you. So what is research outline? Research outline serves as an expectation or structure of what your research paper look like. So it is an essential step in the process of writing a successful research paper, and definitely something you should be working on individually as well as under the guidance of a mentor. So first things first, I would say the most important thing is components of the outline. A good outline should have the following components. First of all, it's a research question. Research question should state what your research question is. Now, if you are doing your research up to the point that you're writing research outline, I'm assuming you have a research question in mind. So this part is to restate what that is and to make sure you're iterating on the problem that you're currently doing research on. Next is the section heading in terms of the content. Typically, we don't enforce the particular structure of the section heading, but loosely speaking, it looks like something like the following. First, you have an introduction. The introduction should spell out what is the domain of the question that you're in, and what is the overall agenda of what is it that you're doing. And perhaps you dive into literature review. In literature review, you're walking through a list of papers that are successful, that are in that domain that you talked about in the introduction session, and perhaps have some good baseline methodologies out there for you to serve as a reference. Now, with that being said, from here on, you have a reference point, or also known as a baseline model. This allows you to build up your proposed model. So next session, I would call a proposed model or proposed approach. This is really to introduce what it is that you are trying to propose. In other words, it should be something novel or it carries some sort of originality. It could be a new neural network model. It could be a new algorithm design, things like that. Once you know what you're doing and you know that this model serves certain purpose, the next part is to show it, right? Maybe there are certain experiments you have to run. Maybe you need to separate training set, test set. Maybe you need to do cross-validation, things like that. So all those things can be discussed and included in the experiment session, which is why the next session is called experiments. Here, of course, you also want to talk about how you process the data and what is that you're trying to do to cause you to process data this way. If you're doing classification, are we talking about balanced data set, right? If you're doing regression, then maybe there's some sort of visualization. So numbers and charts can all be included. But once you have the experiments and you know and explained well enough how to run these experiments, the immediate next step is, of course, the results and the discussion. So results discussion is really to showcase the final answer or the final verdict of what is the conclusion from that experiment. Does not have to be complicated, but it needs to showcase what it is that you are trying to do in the experiment. And of course, a successful experiment as well as successful results will be able to help you address the business question that you introduced in the beginning of your paper. So if you have these 5 steps in front of us, then I will say with confidence that, hey, you know what this paper is about, you know what you're writing, and you have a clear mind of what this paper looks like. And the next thing is to write out about the milestone. When it comes to milestone, the recommendation is to look at the previous structure. So previously, we talked about this timeline. I will recommend, the recommendation here is to use this table to serve as a potential milestone to see if this is something that you can achieve and accomplish. So once you know all the sessions of your paper and you also know the milestone, the next step is to work out data availability. when it comes to data availability, it is good to include not just your plan about how to process data, how to engineer data, but also a source such as a Kaggle link or a link to UCI Machine Learning Repository, things like that, to show people that this is not just some random data that you created for the sake of this experiment, but also this data has a good citation. And everything should be on the table and should be debatable. Now, of course, it is no guarantee that any data that you found online will magically work out well to serve any research question that you asked, right? Certainly, there's a good amount of data visualization, exploratory data analysis going on in there. These are good things to discuss in this data availability session. If you can find original data that work for you, then great. If you can't find it and you need to do some data engineering, that's no problem at all. You can certainly discuss that here as well. The last session is the technical skills. This technical skills really just a safe space for you to lay out what are some programming skills or skills of maneuvering or controlling certain machine learning libraries that you desire to learn. It could be something that you have already learned, or it could be something that you want to learn in the future. So we take this stuff seriously. If you write it down, we'll definitely try to help you out to make sure that you're successful. So with that being said, that is a research outline. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.